Okay, people, big news just happened. Your boy Lil Durk, big OTF, currently facing murder for hire charges, just made a collect call from the feds. And it came to the most unexpected of people, okay? It came to the wife of Loose Cannon, who, if you didn't know, quick rewind, is currently incarcerated as part of the entire Big U RICO. This is the last person we were expecting to hear rubbing shoulders with Mr. Lil Durk. Okay, I'm surprised that this even happened, but the wildest thing has just happened. People have been moved. Cells have been moved. Apparently, Brick Baby and Loose were sharing a cell. Then people were saying that might have been Cap. All of a sudden, Loose Cannon is on the yard with Lil Durk. Loose Lips Cannon is on the yard with Lil Durk. Now, it's the last person I would have expected would have been fraternizing with Mr. Lil Durk. And I just can't believe it. So Loose's wife, Charisse Mills, I believe her name is, she has jumped on a jail call with DJ Academic. She's got Lil Durk on the line, and I want to have a little listen to the call today because I did listen to this already, and honestly, I think it says a lot. I think it says a lot about Lil Durk's mindset. It says a lot about where we are at with this current case, and I think it's just very illuminating and very revealing. So let's just have a quick breakdown of the jail call from Lil Durk and just try and get to the bottom of this situation, man. It's crazy.
They got me feeling like I'm academics. Can't ride away.
Yo,
What's up, bro?
Smirk, what's cracking with you, my brother?
Killer, what you got going?
Man, I've been chilling, man. We missed the fuck out of you out here, bro. How you been?
Nah, I've been good, man. Mentally, spiritually. I've been on top of my shit. I'll be back out there, you hear me?
Man, we can't wait, bro. We've been praying for you.
So currently, just to give you a little bit of extra background, okay, Lil Durk is currently pushing to get some bail, and he's been doing a pretty ingenious finesse to try and get himself out there, okay? So look, here we go. All right, this is my opinion. I don't want to get sued for defamation. I don't want to get told I'm trying to be the feds or trick Durk out of his position. But in my personal opinion, I think Lil Durk is trying to finesse something, because what's been going on is that essentially Lil Durk has been claiming that, there's this one particular song lyric from the song, was it with Babyface Ray, I think it was, where Lil Durk's talking about, no, heard your son, see him on the news, he's screaming, no. It's an extremely self-incriminating line. It's basically very obvious that, Lil Durk is rapping about the supposed murder for hire. But he's trying to finesse it. He's saying that his producer has submitted some metadata to say, no. That lyric that appears to directly explain exactly what happened in this murder for hire that Lil Durk's being accused of, we recorded that way before it happened. And it just so happens we recorded it, months before, and then we sat on it, and then the murder happened, and then we released it after the murder happened, several months after the murder happened, and it perfectly describes not only the circumstances of the murder happening under the direction of Mr. Lil Durk, but also the screams of the screams of grief that Quando Rondo expressed after witnessing this murder that Lil Durk allegedly orchestrated. Apparently that's all a coincidence, and apparently just like one screenshot of metadata is enough to prove that like, oh no, well the file was created way before the murder happened, so this is true. Like, there can't be multiple versions of the file that were submitted to Spotify, like the beat or, a version of the song couldn't have been created before the murder and changed later on. In my opinion, they think the court and the judge and the legal team are a bunch of morons, right? So Lil Durk is now trying to say that the feds submitted a fan-made version of the song where they took that Quando Rondo, the scream of horror at seeing his cousin murdered, allegedly a murder for hire plot orchestrated by Lil Durk. They're trying to say, because a fan-made version of the song where they sampled the song was put out there, the government are trying to say that this is the official version of the song and the song was recorded way before, and we're trying to get Durk out on bail based on this. Now, I think this is personally absurd. One, there's loads more examples of Lil Durk claiming the murder in songs. There's loads more. Just go and check out my video that I made about the whole situation, okay? If you really want to know, if you really want to get to the bottom and the meat and potatoes of this thing, all right? Like, that thing's the tip of the iceberg, okay? If you really want to get into it, if you really want to get into it, all right? There's countless lyrics. There's literally countless lyrics where Lil Durk not only is explaining about how, it's just it's endless. It's endless, right? There's a whole bunch of these things. We flying to get you. Okay. Like, there's loads and loads of lyrics, not just this one lyric where he's talking about Noah screaming, go, go, everybody with him. If you know, you know. There's a bunch of examples, right? They know that we did it. It's absurd. So it's kind of genius, but also absurd that Lil Durk thinks that, you know, he's going to be able to finesse his way out onto bail by kind of focusing everything onto this one example of a lyric that's extremely incriminating with, in my opinion, my personal opinion, false evidence. Like, I don't believe that the song was made before the murder happened. I don't personally believe it's possible for a lyric so obviously describing the circumstances of what exactly happened after the murder. To me, it just cannot be possible. I don't care that you've got a screenshot of, like, I just don't care that you've got a screenshot of some metadata a few months before to say, oh, well, a song, a file was created before the murder happened. So it can't, like, bro, you could have jumped back in the studio and edited that bar to be like, yo, let me just throw an extra bar on this before we drop this song so I can really just, like, mock the victim of the murder. Like, can we just change that? Like, that just doesn't mean anything to me, right? So this is just like, I just wanted to give you that context and just explain to you that, like, Lil Durk is trying to get out based on this little finesse, and he's trying to put everything all on this, like, one fan-made version of the song where they took Quando Rondo's "No" and superimposed it onto the song of Lil Durk talking about see your son on the news, he's screaming "No, no," which to me is literally impossible for Lil Durk to have accidentally rapped that bar and then it happened in the real world. And if it did, you wouldn't release the song. So when Lil Durk says that he's going to be getting out, that's how he thinks he's going to be getting out, and I personally don't buy it. I don't believe Lil Durk's getting out, but we'll see.
Oh, thank you. No, I need all the prayers. No, I appreciate you. I was telling him, I'm like, I thought he told you I didn't want to talk to you. I'm like, no, I ain't said that. I just haven't been calling nobody like that.
Yeah, nah, man. Listen. We all understand.
I'm going to mute mine, put it on yours so that they can hear it. The audio's better on yours. I'm going to lie.
And I think we miss your presence. I know we locked in, and I seen what type of spiritual journey you was on. So, like, I'm hoping you keep that up, man.
Yeah, you know, ain't nothing changed, bro. I just been focused on life, you know, my family and stuff like that. I'm trying to learn how to speak Arabic in here.
Wait, how you learn that? Like, how do you get to learn that? They got classes?
You said, I can't hear you.
Do they got classes for that? Or you just...
No, it's a couple guys in here that's not to speak Arabic fluently. So I'm just learning the different words and, you know, tighten up my Arabic, just get my knowledge together for real. I ain't really on too much of nothing, bro. I don't even be thinking about the outside.
Really?
So Lil Durk says that he's converting people to Islam inside the jail, right? He says he's learning Arabic, and this headline was going around recently, which I thought was really interesting. Apparently, Lil Durk has converted 13 prison inmates to Islam as he awaits murder for hire trial. Now, I'll be honest with you. If I was locked up and Lil Durk popped up, I'm converting to whatever the hell he wants, because I'm probably bored as hell. I'm probably serving life in this federal prison, and I'm thinking, you know what? Let me get on my Dean with Lil Durk. Let me get on my Dean. Let me OTF. You know what I'm saying? The OTF branch of Islam is looking pretty appealing at this stage, right? So apparently Lil Durk is converting people to Islam in jail. 13 prison inmates to Islam. Now, I gotta say, on the one hand, it's like, it's a positive thing. Lil Durk kind of bringing people around to religion, you know, convincing people in jail to maybe take on, you know, the good, positive aspects of Islam, the discipline, you know, the righteousness. But at the same time, and I heard Poetic Flacco say this on his stream when he was reacting to this, and I thought it was really interesting. It's like, you know, it's all well and good to retreat into your religion and convert people, you know, after you've done the murder. Where was the righteousness and the, you know, commitment to God and godliness when you were outside, when you had the opportunity to set a good example, when you were outside supporting your family, supporting your label, supporting your artists? Like, where was that? It's really unfortunate that it takes something like this. And I know it's really tragic. You know, Durk lost King Von. He felt he had to avenge Von, allegedly orchestrating this murder for hire. He had the Wolves and all the gang members and all of OTF basically on his case. Like, when are we sliding for Von? When are we setting this up? Can you book the private jet so we can go and slide for Von? I understand that. But at the end of the day, Von was in the wrong in the first place. Von shouldn't have swung on Quando Rondo. Von allegedly had 7 bodies, got away with 7 murders. He should have really been laying low and living his best life and doing something positive. But really, he was trying to instigate and bully people in the music industry for his own kind of personal gratification and success, and just to basically, let's be real, right? King Von punched Quando Rondo as part of a plan to beat him up as part of his rollout for his Welcome to O-Block project. What Von was hoping happened that night was that he beat the brakes off of Quando Rondo, and it went viral. And he was going to be the toughest guy, and his album's gonna just do numbers, and everyone's going to be talking about him beating up NBA YoungBoys artists, and it was this great thing. And unfortunately, that went wrong. As Quando Rondo said in his song, the guys from Chicago, they thought they were the only killers in America, but they didn't count on the fact that Quando had a killer with him that night. And the Rolling 60s from Savannah, Georgia are serious guys. And that's no disrespect, but that's just the unfortunate situation. And for Lil Durk to then feel like I have to go on this murderous vengeance plot, numerous times people tried to kill Quando Rondo. And I'll be honest with you, Quando had beef with other people in his city, but the way that he was stalked around America with numerous attempts on his life, I think it's quite obvious, in my opinion, let's not get me sued, but it's quite obvious, in my opinion, there was only one group of guys that were really trying to kill Quando coast to coast. And unfortunately, they ended up killing his cousin, and that's why Little Durk's, crashed out and essentially thrown his life away over this situation. Apparently, we'll see how the trial goes. But I think it's just really sad and a bit disingenuous when it's like guys just like go all in on their religion so much after the fact, and it's just like Lil Durk was claiming his religion before all of this stuff. Lil Durk, his father was Muslim, came out of jail, kind of seemed to have quite a positive influence on his son. And Lil Durk was leaning heavily into his religion before this murder for hire charge actually hit the headlines. And it's like, now you're in there converting people, but, it's a little bit too little too late. No disrespect, but it's just really unfortunate. And as we're going to get further into the interview, I think we're going to see a lot of glimpses of Lil Durk just kind of like essentially, it's unfortunate, but it's like his religion's all he's got at this stage. This is what he's leaning on, and it really is a shame, because if he'd have actually stayed true to the tenets of his religion in the first place, he might not have got involved in an alleged murder for hire.
Man, I seen your father, like, he was speaking about you, and it brought me back to the conversation we had. Man, I see where you get it from, man. Like, your father's a stand-up dude.
Yeah, that's my wisdom right there. He be on point. Love him to death.
I got to say something that I think is interesting as well, and this is there's certainly no disrespect to academics, right? But Lil Durk did do an interview with academics before he went away, and unfortunately, it was not even slightly, it was an extremely incriminating interview. If I say so myself, I would say the interview with academics was incriminating. Really. It wasn't a great look. What is going on here? Why is my screen gone all funny? It wasn't a great look, and it just like Lil Durk basically told on himself in the interview, if you ask me. He was in it. He did the interview. And like it was just crazy. Let me pull up a clip of it. May 2023, Durk would release a podcast interview with DJ Academics on his Spotify-powered Off the Record podcast, later uploaded to YouTube under the title Lil Durk, Realest Interview Ever. And in it, Durk would seemingly hint towards having avenged King Von, saying for some reason, people have stopped commenting Slide for Von, with the exchange with Academics being nothing short of creepy.
I feel like you know how to pick with people. You're the worst type of person. You see, at least with like 6ix9ine, he's like, like he's clearly making fun of you. You like,
I ain't gonna lie, like I be dead serious, like that's why I try not to do too much. I be dead serious, and it's like the people around me is even worse than me. So it's like that's why I said the situation.
It's at this stage it's all killer energy, right? This is why it's really important, because I want you to really take note of how different Lil Durk's talking here to when he's in jail facing the consequences of these murder for hires. This is demonic Lil Durk. Like, I'm killing people and getting away with it, and I've got the wolves all surrounding me and they're protecting me, and I'm facing no consequences. This is Lil Durk thinking he's gotten away with murder, and then in a minute, we're going to keep going with the jail call, and we're going to hear a completely different Lil Durk. We're going to hear a defeated, sad, a Lil Durk that sounds like he's given up, to be completely honest with you.
And I was like, I'd be the one to be like, man, I'm gonna take a picture of Soulja Boy and be funny. If I want that type of guy, it would have been like, then they would have whooped his like, you know what I'm saying?
All right.
Like, I don't take that man serious. The man did not do nothing wrong. The man friends did. Quando got his ass whooped. He was there.
You didn't get beat up.
Huh? Pull up on.
Oh yeah. You get triggered by the
Beat the
slide.
shit out of this little ass, man. What
You
you
get
talking
triggered
about?
by the Sly for Vaughn comments. They used to say it, but you also mentioned a song. They be like, they be saying Sly for Vaughn. I think they trolling me. Yo, by the way, that song was fire. I ain't gonna lie.
For some reason, I just don't see them comments no more. For some odd reason. I don't know. Might be the water. You be seeing them comments a lot?
They kind of chilled out a little bit.
I wonder why. We here though. We different in Iraq.
I feel like you're speaking in parables. I'm trying to like decode it a little bit, but it's.
No, we have nothing to do with nothing. I'm saying that's like me just claiming something I want to.
I feel like you was trolling right there. No.
I never troll him. He got beat up too bad. He got to do that.
So you're not condoning more violence continuing.
For what? Everybody you telling me about don't matter.
See, like I feel like I can't tell if you have a good poker face. All right, man.
Elsewhere in the interview, Durk brushed off Quando Rondo and Lil Tim. Like, this is just the amount of confidence here, and it's a crazy fall from grace. This is a guy who's thinking that he's getting away with murder, and just just completely if you watch the full version of the interview, it's creepy, and there's more. We cut out some of the pauses because we just needed to make it a little bit smaller and a little bit shorter. But it really is just kind of dark. And now when you listen to, what I'm trying to say is that, like, we got academics. He's getting these calls from Lil Durk. He's doing interviews with Lil Durk. Academics is the #1 hip hop media guy in the space, and Lil Durk really ain't messing with anybody other than academics at this stage, right? And it's just like a completely different persona. It's the same guy, completely different circumstances, completely different personas.
What you been working on? What you got going?
Man, just hip hop is hip hop. Just did like some Kanye interview not too long ago, but man, this shit boring out here without you, bro.
Yeah, I'm. I got a lot of stuff going on, bro. I ain't really too much focused on too much stuff that is like negative no more. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I feel you on that.
See, it's just funny, right? Like, he ain't focused on too much stuff that's negative no more. But it weren't so long ago that he was talking about, what does he say here? He says, saying that all the real gangsters. He's about to say that in his words, look at this. King Von was killed by a nerd.
Von put the Floyd Mayweather on the up, and happened. That shit everybody else, like when a real gangster, you know what I mean? When a real gangster get took out by like a nerd type.
This interview would pretty much. It's like, now you're not focused on the negative because you're facing the consequences, because you shouldn't have been doing that. You shouldn't have been allegedly orchestrating certain things that led to the loss of life of people that weren't even involved in the situation. You shouldn't have been hopping on DJ Academics' interview in the first place talking about, you put the Floyd Mayweather on him, and I don't see those comments no more. Must be something in the water. Bro, ain't nothing in the water. We know what it was. Ain't no water. It's private jet. You and a bunch of shooters.
We was bumping your album over here. How is even releasing that from where you at right now? Cause your fans love you.
Honestly, bro, I ain't heard it.
Really?
We're gonna hear more of it as we go on the interview, right? But this is a defeated Lil Durk. This is Lil Durk. Yeah, he's trying to get out and he's trying to finesse it. He's trying to finesse the evidence and say, oh, the song was recorded before, blah blah blah. This is a defeated Lil Durk. This is a Lil Durk. He ain't talking about no Quando getting the brakes beaten off him no more. This is a Lil Durk who is beginning to dawn on him that he threw his entire life away, fully crashed out, and he's about to face the consequences of the stuff that he did. And he's probably really reflected on the, song after song after album claiming this whole situation, the Loyal Bros 2, you know what I mean? All of these, that we did it. All of this stuff, all of this stuff, shooting him at the gas station, all of this stuff, all of these lyrics. I got a choice to let you live or get you slimed. That switch bound to get you. We flying to get you. And now He's not really interested. He doesn't even really care about the music. He's not bothered about his album coming out. He's barely got anything to say. You know, it's sad, really. It's sad because you just think of the situation that Durk was in and the opportunity that he had in life and where he's ended up. It is truly sad. But at the same time, if it turns out that these allegations are true, which, you know, a lot of his own lyrics would lead you to believe that these allegations are indeed true. That's just my opinion. It's just like truly sad, but he brought it upon himself.
Nah, you know, they would tell me about the few songs, and they'd tell me call back. I wouldn't call them back like that. But they would keep me updated. But I ain't heard nothing. You know, this is like a box of hell. You know, we don't get no news, no talk, no nothing. If you don't call or somebody send it to you on the computer, it's a wrap.
He's over his career. He don't even care his albums come out. He don't care about the response. He's just in a box of air. This call with Academic's probably one of the first times he even having contact with like some media type guys. You know what I mean? It's just like he don't care. He's given up. This is Lil Durk just completely given up.
Yeah, I remember, you know who reached out to me? Duty Low hit me. It was just like, yo, send me an email. I'm going to give it a smirk. And I was like, yo, definitely. I just wanted to kind of see, like, if you were in good spirits. So that's why I'm glad you on here now.
Yeah, I'm always in good spirits, bro. I be in my box. So I don't really too much be talking to everybody or trying to be like in everybody's business or have everybody in my business. I really just been chilling, but I always send my...
This call is from a federal prison.
I always send my love out to everybody who who I fuck with and who I be talking to and rocking with. But other than that, I just read to myself.
It's a really defeated sounding Durk, and like again, it's just that thing of, you know, I know a few people that are currently doing time. You know, I know a few people that are doing really long amount of time, and like, you know, everyone puts a brave face onto it, and you got to respect it because you got to have that positive outlook to get through these scenarios and get through these long stretches, these long bids, this uncertainty of where you're going to go, and you just hope that it's going to come. I know people that have gotten out way earlier than they thought they were going to get out, but it's like, you got to put that brave face on it. But even this, like, I'm not buying it from Durk here. He sounds super defeated. When you look at the old interviews and the cockiness and the swagger that he had back when he thought he was getting away with this stuff, it's a completely different person.
The family? Yeah.
My family good. You know, I talk to them. It's the only people I talk to is just the family and my lawyer, for real. Just keep my spirits up, keep my energy pure.
How's your relationship with your family now that you're in there? Is it closer?
Listen, Sharice, you need to go get some interview lessons, okay? Because this was the worst questions I ever seen. This was insane. I was listening to this interview when it happened live, and I was just like, Sharice, we're gonna send you to we're gonna put you on Vlad's course and just teach you how to get your interview skills up, because this was like just killed the interview, man.
Huh? What you mean?
Like, are you closer with your family as far as your relationship? You know,
are you closer with your family now that you're potentially facing life in prison?
Being up in there talking to them every day.
Are you closer to your family now that, you know, you are completely separated from them and might never see some of them ever again?
I don't get what you're saying. You saying like, as I'm close to my family?
Are you closer to your family now that you're completely isolated from them by several thick concrete walls and beams and bars?
Yeah, like now with all that's going on, has it brought you guys closer?
I don't. Shout out Sharice, man. We're gonna get you some interview lessons.
I always been close to my family. I'm a family man.
Yeah. Okay, let's get the act questions back in here.
That's what's up.
Shout out to Sharice for making this happen. You're a fixer, all right? You might not be an interviewer, but you're a fixer.
Yes, Smurf. I've been, man. I know y'all just want,
because you're hearing Durk sound so defeated that it's like, Act don't even know what to ask. You know, he's kind of glazing. He's trying to big him up and prop him up, and that's what you got to do in these scenarios. But it's like, you can hear the defeat.
Wonder about your mental, man. I just saw you on this journey. And I seen how, like, even, you know, there's a few times you hit me up and you were just like, yo, Ack, I'm just checking on you. You know, that meant a lot to me. It wasn't even like nothing crazy going on, but you were just like, yo, Ack, I'm just trying to make sure you're good. I'm checking up on you. That told me a lot about your character and, like, really just, you were in a really positive space, man. And,
yeah. Ain't nothing changed. I just don't be, I ain't no follower, bro. I ain't just too much in tune with the industry drama and all that shit. If I fuck with you, I fuck with you. I don't care who don't like you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Vice versa.
That's what's up.
You still talk to me if they don't like me. It don't matter. But I ain't really been too much focused on that type of shit anyway.
What's a regular day like? because I know you getting in touch with your spirituality, your religion, and everything, but like everybody's wondering like, man, I wonder what he's going through on a daily.
So I talk to my family.
It's just sad to hear, because it's like, Academic's a great interviewer. He's trying to ask some positive questions, ask what you're going through on a daily, but it's like you can tell Durk's pausing, he's hesitating, because the real shit, the real answers is, look, he probably in a low place. He's probably in the lowest place he ever been in his entire life. He probably realizing the consequences of his actions. He probably realizing that he might not be able to get his way out of this. A little metadata from the producer of your most incriminating song might not be enough to get you out of this jam. You've said too much. You've rapped too much. You've snitched on yourself too much. And you know what I'm saying? Why would you want a private jet to California and then a murder goes down? Why'd that happen? How are you going to explain that? What were you doing there? Why were you there? And then someone dies and then you go home. Like, how come? Like, how come? Forget about the song. And it's a panicked and very downtrodden Durk that we're hearing here. And honestly, it's not what we used to.
My wife, 24/7. We be in just prayer. Learning Arabic. I've been in these books heavy, just read up on the history and just everything. I don't really be walking around talking and playing and doing none of that. We'll play basketball, but I always try to stay focused and busy. That's why I don't really talk to the outside outside of the family, because I don't want to hear all the extra shit, the bullshit, the drama, the shit. I really just,
Hey, he's only the family for real, man. OTF through and through. At the end, the only people he was speaking to, the only people that were there for him were his family. All the shooters and the killers and the guys that probably hyped him up to slide for Von. That's really unfortunate. It's sad, but that's not who's there for him. I wonder how many OTF affiliates he's even keeping in touch with at this point.
I just really just stay in the learning mode.
Hey, I know you cooking them niggas and balling there, man. I know you was nice. You was nice out here. Don't tell me you lost the skills on you there. I know you cooking.
I'm like 50-4.
What y'all running? 1v1s, 2v2s? Like 5v5s?
2v2s. No, 2v2s. I'm done. You hear me? My ankles gave out.
Oh, nah.
Nah, they ain't give out. I'm done though. 50-2. That's cool. You hear me? Like 50-4, man.
Nah, yo, Smirk, they probably just letting you win, bro. Like, ain't no way you cooking like that. Chill.
Nah, it's good energy in here. Ain't too much nothing going on. If you ain't playing basketball,
We got a minute left. So if there's anything you want to say, you have a lot of young fans that look up to you. Is there something you want to tell them?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
I said Allah Akbar.
That's all he had to say, man. Allahu Akbar. I wonder whether Durk really deep down wanted to say the real shit, the real stuff, like what he should say to his fans, which is, don't crash out, man. Don't do what I did. Don't get sucked into this. I would love to know, and it might be something that we get maybe after the trial's done. If Durk gets who knows? If Durk gets a not guilty verdict, I'm sure we're going to get a million interviews, like Young Thug doing interviews right now. But if Durk gets the guilty verdict, are we going to get the jailhouse interview where he says, I screwed up. I wouldn't advise the next generation to slide for people. I wouldn't advise the next generation to take guys from my block that I knew were murdering people and put them in position, building them into my entire operation. This so sad, but Durk's biggest mistake was putting Von on. And I'm sure it made him a lot of money. It got him the motion. It brought him back into this gangster rap world that he kind of fell out of when he was doing the whole singing, the Dej Loaf relationship. It's really sad that him trying to help his friend King Von, who sadly was quite a big force of negativity in the world for the alleged many murders that he committed, and using his music basically as a rallying cry for more violence, whether or not he played a role in the FBG Duck murder being orchestrated. Really, really sad stuff. I wonder whether Lil Durk would ever open up and just admit and be honest and say, this isn't the path that I would want the young people to take. Maybe I was wrong for album after album pushing this, perpetuating this kind of thoughts and these violence. And for all my life they've been trying to keep me down. They know that we did it. You know what I'm saying? There's a no. There's a no, let's go to war about it. He said, no, I've ready to go. The morgue got him. Oh, okay. What happened to all my life? Now the morgue's got him. I don't know. I wonder whether he would ever reflect on that. Maybe he hasn't reflected on that personally, but he's sounding defeated in this call. That's all I know.
Smirk, yo, listen, we love you, brother. You just stay strong. We rooting for you. We hoping you get through this, man. And we can't wait till I can't wait till you get out. We gonna lock back in. You feel me?
Yeah, you know that. I got you, buddy.
Always.
Man, there you have it. You know, that's our first real Lil Durk interview. I would call that an interview. You know, it was a real interview. Shout out to Academic. Shout out to Sharice, man. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get you some interview lessons from Big Vlad. But that was it. I think we're hearing a very defeated Durk. I think we're hearing a very downtrodden Durk. I don't think anybody's used to hearing him like this, and it's honestly crazy. So hope you found that interesting. I'll keep you updated. Peace.